Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of Battle 6 from the Road to Las Vegas, which is Fantasy Excel by Peter Scharl. I'm going to partly walk through how to do it, and I'm going to partly explain how this became the worst esports performance I have ever given. Just to give you a quick sense, these are the rankings from the battles so far this year. So I've finished second a couple of times, first a couple of times. I had a bit of a wobble in round three. I came where I'm 16th, uh, and then came battle six, where a bunch of people got 1120 out of a possible 1250, i.e., they only missed the last hardest bonus question. Um, and I won't make you scroll through the whole thing, but all the way down to the bottom, here's me on 53 out of 1,250 possible points, which is not actually my worst score ever. That was 8 out of 1,000 on Excelopolis, but it is by a long way my worst relative score ever. I'm not sure these three people actually turned up. So I was basically 98th out of 100 people, which is almost impressively bad. So anyway, this is going to be partly an explanation of how that came to happen and how it came to happen in a way that I felt like I was incredibly close to actually crushing this round. But anyway, so a quick kind of tactical explainer before I jump in, which is for these cases, you get 30 minutes to do it, but you get a 45-minute window. So the key thing is that you can get access to a video that gives you sort of brief case instructions, which I'll walk you through in a second, for up to 15 minutes before you start your time. I think that only started happening in the last few rounds, but if you are good at writing lambdas, that can be a really big advantage. And so I watched the video, I'll explain it in a second, and then I spent 15 minutes writing lambdas and then started my 30 minutes time. So let's just take a quick walk through. The idea is it's based around Excel fantasy Excel leagues. And so for a bunch of different players and a bunch of different weeks, we've got these fantasy stats where there's three numbers separated by dashes, which is so it's X, Y, 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 Z. X is the number of levels completed, Y, Y, Y is the total stage score, and Z is the number of bonus questions scored. And you're given sort of value for each of those to convert them into fantasy points or something, yeah, fantasy points. And then most of it is based around picking fantasy teams. So levels 3 and onward are based around these teams. So you got like team and is these 8 players, team average is these 8 players, and so on. I was kind of hoping I'd be on team Lambda, but I'm not. I am on some team here, but anyway. So that's the idea, and both the instructions here and the video sort of emphasize this, X, Y, 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 Z. And this was the doom of me because I got overly fixated on that, even though the example clearly showed here's a person getting 1003. So I knew that the issue was that I thought it always had to be exactly 3 digits. But there's an example here that clearly shows it does not always have to be exactly 3 digits, but I missed that. So I wrote some lambdas. Um, you got to see the shape of what this table would look like, so I kind of made my own mini version of that with some dummy data. I wrote a lambda to take a player and a week and extract that player's stat from that week. So here's, A in week 2 is 1, 4, 5, 9, and 7. I wrote another lambda to score that, and I wrote both of these in such a way that they can take array inputs. So here, for example, we're scoring ACBD in weeks 2 and 1. And then I also wrote some lambdas to score a team. So here's, the score of this team of 8 people in week 2. So let's just pop them up. So extract just uses index and xmatch to extract a player's stat. Score just 250 times left, which is the X stat, 5 times mid A33, which is the YYY, and 500 times right, which is the Z at the end. And then team score is just the sum of the scores for the list of players and that week. And then level 5 is based around it. You get teams of 8, but you only use the best 6 scores. So for that, I just added large sequence 6. So in other words, the largest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that all worked great, except that it was built on this bad foundation, which is mid 3-3. In other words, the 3 characters starting from the 3rd character doesn't work if it's 1,000. So let's just put in 1,000 here. and you can see, well, actually you can't see because it's all combining it all, but let me just strip this off. So you can see it's giving it a score of 100 because it's taking the 3 characters starting from position 3, which is 100. A couple of things quickly. You could do this with text split. Text split that on that, and then multiply that by 250, 5, and 500, and then sum it up, and that would give you the correct fantasy points. The challenge with writing the lambda that way is that's not something that you can apply to a range, because text split spills out into a range, and so if you apply that to a range, it won't behave properly. It'll only give you the first piece of the output. So you can do that lambda if you wrap it in a map, or if you don't need it to be array friendly. But an alternative way, if you know that the only way it's going to get an extra character is by it being 1,000, then you can just replace this number of characters with the length of a minus 4, because there's always one character at the start, one character at the end, and 2 dashes, so that adds up to 4, and all the rest is what's in the middle. And so if I had changed this to be len a minus 4, then everything would have gone very differently. But anyway, that is life. I'm going to solve it with the correct version so we can actually see the answers hopefully being right, rather than me just shuffling around. So anyway, that's the sheet that I set up, aside from correcting the error in the sort of 15 minutes before. So then time starts, I get access to the file. So first thing I'm going to do is convert this to a table and hit OK and give it the name T, because that is how I wrote my thing over here. Then I'm just going to take a blank sheet from here, HOM, copy it to here, create a copy, and that'll import all the lambdas. I can just delete the blank sheet. And then the one thing is I have to look at my extract lambda. I don't know what all these are CapIQ things, but anyway, I'm just going to get rid of them. So the only thing is that this is now pointing to the table T externally, so I just have to fix that quickly. I'm just going to copy it out into the formula bar because I find it very fiddly to edit in here. Come over here. So I just need to get rid of this and get rid of this, and then copy that back in here. And now we have working formulas. Oops, I forgot to start my timer. But anyway, all right. We haven't used much time doing that, a minute or two. So okay, how many fantasy points were scored during the highest week of the season? So here we can just say score of this, and then sum. If you wanted to be a real, dynamic array purist, you could do this in one. Oops. This is the downside of structured names. Then you could do it in one cell with in one formula with a bicol, but I'm not that much of a purist, and this is a lot faster. So we can just say max of this. That's good. How many fantasy points did the highest scoring team accumulate during the season using level 5 scoring? I'll come back to teams later. All right, so let's just do this. I'm going to say score of that. That's all good. How many fantasy points does this? So here we're going to say score of extract of this player this week. Oops. Oh, merged cells. There we go. How many fantasy points did the team score across? Now, here's one where I split these up using like as part of formulas, and honestly that was just a little overwrought. I think a better way to do this would just be to go Alt AE, delimited, other dash enter, finish. Yes. And then what we want is, so this is, we're trying to figure out how many points do the team score across the given weeks. So actually, sorry, first I need to do some of my teams setup. So we've got the teams in this kind of very human-friendly but not very machine-friendly format. So first I'm just going to filter, let A be this, just so I don't have to go find the range twice. Then I'm going to filter A where A is not blank. That's my list of teams. And then here I'm going to say 2row of offset from here, X match this against here. I like to stick it to the offset haters occasionally. So let's see, we need to lock that and lock this. Too few arguments. Oh yeah, sorry, need to. All right, so that seems to be working. Andrew down to Thomas, yes. And let's just check the last one. Ben down to Zlot. Zolt? I have no idea how to pronounce that name, but anyway, yes, that seems to be working. So now I'm just going to name this team name. I'm going to name this players. Okay, so now I'm interested in how team match scores in these weeks. So I want a sequence of this minus this plus 1 starting from the smaller number. So that'll give me 9 to 11. Whoops, I want that going across rows. That's all good. And then I want XLOOKUP this in team name returning from players. And I don't even need to output that one. So what I want is sum of team score of that list of players in this list of weeks. Now, hang on, wait, I think that is not, that's not going to work right because I've got rows and rows. I think I need to have these going opposite ways. So let's go to call on this. That doesn't seem to be working. All right, let's just do it this way. Do the XLOOKUP team name in team name returning from players. So here's what I can do. I can do toCall of that. Then I can do X of these players in these weeks and score that. And sum that. No, maybe the 2090 was right. Doesn't seem like a super strong team if so, but yeah, no, that doesn't seem right because this alone should be thousands. Oh, that's not good. The score of that. Ah, okay, weird. Sum of minus minus that. It's one of those weird array misbehavior things. So then I just want it all to fit in a row, so I'm going to put that in there, and then we can, actually then I can just copy it over here. And that checks it. Okay, level 4. 2 teams play against each other each week. The team that scores more fantasy points wins each of the 16 games. Okay, so here I want a team score of this sequence 16 in A. It's not good. Team score is not working. Why not? Oh, sorry, because I need the list of players, not just the team name, because that's how I wrote it. Okay, so XLOOKUP this in team name returning from players. Okay, so that's their score in week 1. And their score across the 16 weeks. No, that's not what I want. Ah, because I've wrapped in some. Okay, fine. So then I need to map A, B, B sequence of 16. Map lambda A team score of that week. Okay, so that's the list of all their team scores. So we'll call that T1 score. Then open this up a little bit. Team 2 score. Same thing, except with column J. Then let's just first output team 1. I'm going to call T1 score next to T2 score. Why is it not auto-completing T2 score? Something is wrong. So I'm missing a closing bracket. T2 score, that's better. Okay. So then, what do I want to check? How many games will team 1 win? So T1 score greater than or equal to, because a tie counts as a win, greater than or equal to T2 score. And then I want to wrap that in minus minus. Then I'm just interested in the sum of that last column. So H stack was just for checking, so now I'll just do sum of that. 7, happy days. Okay, and last one. 2 teams play against each other each week. Only the top 6 players are counted each week for a team, and scoring is specified for each. Okay, fine. So same thing, I'm going to do text columns for this. And I'm going to do sequence of top minus bottom plus 1, starting from bottom. And always forget that I want it going across. Okay, and looks like that's as many as any of them have. So then I want basically the same thing as here. But modified slightly. So I should have kept that check thing there. Check the H stack. T1 score, T2 score, T1 score. Oh, never mind. So just kill that and I'll put check for now. What's the actual question? How many points the team with the most points? Okay, fine. But now I want to modify. So this is one team. This is the other team. And I'm not mapping sequence 16. I'm mapping, oops, this sequence here. Oh, okay, sorry, I'm down there. I really wanted to be up here, actually, so let's just move them. Okay, so it's giving me, oh, sorry. Fine, let's do 2col on that so that I get it vertical. Okay, so one team gets 152,000, the other team gets 164,000. That is not, oh, sorry, because I'm still using team score, I should be using L5 score and L5 score here as well, because that's the one that only takes the best 6. So now one team gets 131,830, the other gets 138,525. Perfect. Okay, so then I want max of, oops, max of sum of T1 score and sum of T2 score. What? Oh, it's probably another thing where I need to minus minus it. It is. Okay. Weird, but fine. Alright, so then we take that, put it in here. That is not working. Interesting. Might just do some debugging here. Oh. That's really weird. It is working most of the time, but not all the time. Very strange. What's going on? Okay. So let's see. We've got L5 score. That's working correctly. L5 score there. Okay. So first thing we can do is make that out and switch to outputting check. Oh, sorry, wrong place. Oops. So make that the output and then switch to outputting check. 184, 535, 183, 545. Okay, so this one it would suggest is too high. So these 5 weeks and these 8 players. So let's just break it down. Those are the 8 players. And then it's this one, yeah. So 2 row. Sorry, not 2 row, 2 col. So then I want score of extract these players in these weeks. And then I want sum large this sequence 6. And that is agreeing. Weird. So here's the one with the perfect score, and that was in the example, 7,700. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? Could it be the zeros? I doubt it. Let's see, 759 times 5. I'm just manually checking this one here. Plus 1 times 500. It's 4295. That's right. 4295 up there. So let's do sort these by column. Just in case there's something with the large logic. That's giving the exact same thing. Okay. Let's try checking the other team in case they're supposed to win. 183, 545, 183, 545, 183, 545. It all agrees. Very puzzled as to what's going wrong here. All right, well, anyway, I'm going to go on and do the bonus questions, and then I'll try and pause and figure that out. How many fantasy points does the highest scoring team accumulate during the season using the level 5 scoring rules? Okay. So let's just do sequence, comma 16. Let's do L5 score of these players this week. Wait, sorry. Did it say level 5? Yes, level 5. Okay. So some of those. What's the question? How many highest score? Okay. So it's just the max of these. And that's good. Okay. So last question. What is the fewest number of wins a team would win if every team versus team permutation this season was performed using level 5 scoring rules? Got it. Team 1 plays Team 3 every week and gets Y wins. Oh, sorry. Yeah, got it. Okay, so we want this team versus this team. Okay, so we're gonna let's come back here to where I had the map thing going on. Yep, that's going to be helpful here. So we're going to map this against that. We're going to look up this as team 1. I'm going to look up this as team 2. And we want to know, how many times team 1 gets a win. But we're just going to have to add if this equals this, oops, then 0, otherwise all this stuff. I think that's it. Let's see. Okay, I think that's all I need. So let's just see which way around is this. So team 1 is here, and I'm counting how many times team 1 wins. So this is that and this. So 75. Not ringing a bell, but give it a try. No, that is not right. Okay. So anyway, I got a little bit of debugging to do here. I'm not going to make you watch me do all that, but I will tell you what went wrong when I come back. Okay, back recording again, realized the two silly mistakes I made. So first of all, this last bonus question is based on level 5 scoring. And I copied a formula from a level where I was using regular scoring. So that's an easy fix, just have to replace team score with L5 score. This is the challenge of doing things after the fact when I'm like, I kind of know what's going on here, so I speed through it and then get it wrong. So anyway, now the minimum is 63, and that is correct. Okay, then the nuance that I missed on the last one, again, because I'm hurrying through, when I actually read the instructions, it was perfectly clear. 2 teams play against each other each week. We're interested in not the highest point total, but the points of the teams with the most wins across the weeks. So in other words, here, let's say this greater than this. So you can see team 1 wins by kind of wide margins twice, but actually loses 3 times. So the team with more wins is team 2 with 183,000 and something, rather than the team with more points, which is team 1. So how do we capture that? Well, let's see. So there's my check. I need to figure out, I guess, where are we? So say winner will be sine of T1 score minus T2 score, and then I'll add that to what I'm outputting. That'll spill. I gotta get rid of this. So now I've got 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1 minus 1. So then, so I guess I'll call that winners. So that's who wins each round, and then I want to know who wins overall. That's going to be winner is sine of sum of winners. So in other words, if there's more minus 1s, meaning more of team 2 winning, then the sum will be negative, and that means team 2 wins. If there's more plus 1s, that means team 1 wins, and the sum will be positive. And then we're going to say the output is not going to be the maximum of the 2 scores. It's going to be, let's say, choose. No, not choose. We're going to say if. Let's go switch. Switch, because we want to allow for a few different values. Switch of winner. If it's 1, that means player 1 wins. So we take sum of T1 score. If it's minus 1, that means player 2 wins. We take the sum of team 2 score. And if it is 0, that means it's a draw. That structurally should not happen, so we'll output error. And that should be it. So then let's output out. And now we've got at least a different score. Let's see if it works. Boom, copy it down. Hooray. So now, oops, it's a little squished here, but widen this out. Hopefully I've got 1250. So this is basically the model that I had, except that my score did not say len A minus 4, it said 3. And watch what happens when I make that one small change. So this says 231 points because it's scoring each thing. But so now all the bonus questions are wrong. But also with the way that the online scoring works, I get these 3, but I don't get anything for these because my checksum is wrong. I get these 3, but I don't get anything for this section because my checksum is wrong. I get nothing here. I get one thing here. Miss all the rest of them. Miss all of this. And that gets me my 53 that I finished on. So like I said, there's on the one hand, it's sort of a cautionary tale, you know. I guess I need to check my work more carefully when I'm building on foundations. But on the other hand, you know, you can break the whole model like that. But equally, if I had realized on time what was going on, all it would have taken would be for me to come into one place, type in len A minus 4, hit close, and boom, I would have got a perfect score. So the nice thing about kind of building up a series of lambdas like this is that it allows you to change the logic throughout your entire model in a kind of almost instantaneous way. And if you have, I don't know, like if you have some complex lambdas for dealing with an unusual tax schedule, or just even a relatively standard tax schedule that gets updated every year, or some other kind of bespoke logic, and you need to update that throughout your entire large model. If you've built your world on a series of simple lambdas, there's one place where you can make that change and it'll flow through the entire model. So, you know, it can kill you, but it can also be a lifesaver if those lambdas that everything is built on are carefully checked. So that's it. There's another battle next week. I'm hoping not to, hoping not to come 98 out of 100 this time, but let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching. See you next time.